fun, guys. Work hard, but have fun. Because look, guys, I'll tell you what, I work my ass off. Okay, I work very, very hard every single day. But you best believe I have fun as well. I still go and do things that I love to do. I still go play some basketball. I still have good laughs with my friends at night. I still watch my Netflix when I deserve it. I still take trips to other countries. Okay. I do all the things that I love to do and I love to have fun. I love my life. Okay. So have fun. Okay. That's probably a block that's holding you back. That's number 4. The block, number 5, that's holding you back is the fear of rejection. Okay. The fear of rejection. Do you know how many people deny their dreams due to the fear of rejection? This idea can be paralyzing to some people, right? Because people look at it as a form of humiliation and defeat when they get rejected. But in reality, it is growth that you're going through when you face rejection. And understand this, that if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. Okay? If you look at rejection as a bad thing, it'll always be a bad thing. But if you look at rejection as a good thing, it'll always be a good thing. You know why? Because I learned this one liner. Listen to this one liner. This one liner, I think, has helped me so much in the last 2 years of my journey, because the one liner goes like this. It says, rejection is redirection. Okay. Rejection is redirection. So understand that each time that you get rejected, all that's happening is the universe and God is aligning you with the next thing that you need to do. Okay. With the next person that you got to meet, with the next journey that you got to go on. Okay. Don't look at rejection as a bad thing. So, for example, I'll never forget the day I attracted one of my top leaders within my organization. Okay. I was, this was about a year ago, right? I attracted a huge leader into my business from Australia. She was already a multiple 7-figure earner. And I remember how many times I was rejected before I met her. Okay. And I remember doing presentations, talking to people. And I think it was after maybe 10 rejections. I think on the 11th try, on the 11th attempt, I found her. So I talked to 10 people, all of them, did presentations for them. All of them told me, I don't have the money. I need more information. I don't know if I could do this. I have full-time school. The summer's coming around. I'm going on vacation. 10 people straight rejected me. And I'm like, man, and I was already kind of getting annoyed. I'm like, man, this is tough. It was just, I was having a tough month. But I'm like, you know what? I got to keep pushing. And it didn't matter how many times I got rejected. I kept pushing. I kept pushing. And then on the 11th attempt, I found a leader from Australia, 7-figure earner. And she joined me. And that person joining my business, in the next 4 months, I was able to grow an organization of over 300 plus people in my business, okay, and help so many success stories develop just because of that one person that joined my business. But why? Because I didn't stop after I was rejected 10 times. I kept pushing, I kept presenting, I kept talking, I kept doing what was, what was required, and now I got it. And understand that once you get into this flow, guys, it's gonna be a game changer for you. Because guess what? Rejection can be the greatest guidance of them all. Rejection can be the greatest guidance of them all. All right. So that's number 5. Okay. Number 6. All right. The block that could be holding you back is having a need more mentality. Right. Having a need more mentality. Now, what does that mean? Okay. See, guys, you got to learn how to practice gratitude for what you already have. Okay. The problem with a lot of people is that they're not grateful for what they have right now. So the universe and God is not going to give you more to be grateful for if you're not grateful for what you have right now. Okay. You see, the moment you get something, the moment you accomplish something, the moment you get any amount of money, you always say, okay, yeah, I got these $100, but I need 200. Yes, I got to this rank, but I need the next rank. Yes, this person joined my business, but I need more people to join my business. How about, man, I got this $100, I'm so grateful for this $100. Man, I'm so thankful for this $100. And, I pray that God blesses me with more. I pray that the universe gives me more. You're showing gratitude for what you have now. You're showing appreciation for what you have now. Okay. And remember, not feeling complete in the moment of achievement, this is living in the lack mentality. Not feeling complete in the moment of achievement, that's a lack mentality. Because if you achieved what you wanted and you're not grateful for it, and you're not present in that moment and you're not feeling complete, then guess what? You're thinking in a state of lack, because at that very moment, you have everything that you needed. You have everything that you wanted. You wanted that rank, you got that rank. You wanted that amount of money, you got that amount of money. You wanted that person to join your business, they joined your business. Okay? So understand, guys, you gotta keep yourself present in the moment and understand that if you don't be grateful, if you're not grateful for what you have right now, this will block you from your full potential. Celebrate all of these great moments that you have right now and understand that you don't need more. You just got to be grateful for what you have now. Okay? Being grateful for what you have now will open the doors of abundance on its own. And you're not going to need it. It's just going to give it to you. Guess what? Because you already made the decision that it's yours, because you were grateful for when you didn't have any. The great Jim Rohn once said, he said, be grateful when the amounts are small, so that way that can make you deserving of being more and having access to all the big blessings that are coming in your life. I'll never forget those words. Be grateful for what you have now. Be grateful when the amounts are small, so that way you can be deserving when the amounts are big. And that's very important. That always stuck with me. Okay. And that's block number 6. Block number 7 is the fear of being judged. So what will others think about you? Okay. Understand that if you're worried about what other people are going to say about you, okay, if you buy their opinion, you buy their lifestyle. Okay. The people in your life who are closest to you, all right, are great spiritual teachers because they reflect back to you the energy that you're putting out. Wow. Listen to that one more time. The people in your life who are closest to you are great spiritual teachers because they reflect back to us the energy that we're putting out. Now, no, what do you mean by that? Well, if you have people criticizing you and they don't believe in you and they're doubting you and they're being negative, hey, maybe that might be, the energy that you're putting out. Maybe you don't really believe. Maybe you're being negative on your own in your own mindset and you truly don't believe that this is going to work out for you. Okay. The energy that you're receiving from those closest to you is the energy that you're putting out. Don't let that one go over your head, guys. That's very, very important, right? Understand that their judgment of us is a reflection of ourselves, whether it's conscious or unconsciously. The things that you fear at home, at night when you're at home by yourself, the things that you think about that only you yourself know about, the negative thoughts, the feelings that you get, and then you have friends and family who
Damn, I kind of wanted to let that play because that was going deep. I'm not gonna lie, that was good right there. All right, all right, all right, familia. Grand rising. Happy Wednesday. I am so happy, so excited to be on this call with all of you guys. I hope everybody is feeling amazing this morning. Welcome back to Mornings with Nano YouTube edition. I'm so blessed, so grateful to be here with all of you guys for real. Anytime that we get a chance to jump on these calls and learn and elevate and put ourselves in a position to win is always a blessing for me more than anything. So I'm extremely grateful and blessed that you guys have made it a priority this morning to jump on today's call. Man, my hair is all messed up. But I'm excited because you know, now that I'm doing these calls 5 days a week on YouTube, I get a chance to spend a lot more time with you guys and just be able to pour in more, get more creative with my trainings, come up with a lot of amazing things. And today's the last day of April. I feel like this year is literally flying by. It's really flying by. Happy birthday, Lynn. It's literally flying by because if you think about it, it's already basically May. You know, next month will be June. Usually summer flies by. The summer is going to be super fast, and then next thing you know, be September, October, November, and the year's over. So the year is literally flying by, and it just goes to show how important it is for us to take advantage of the time. Sometimes we take the time that we have for granted, and next thing you know, the months are passing, and quarters are passing, and it's summer, it's fall, and the year is over, and we haven't even done enough work. Like, think about it. How many books have you read this year already? We're in May. How many pages of the Bible have you read this year already? How much have you grown in your business? Are you making more money? Are you making less money? Or are you making the same amount of money? Where are you? And these are important times, guys. Like, I want to let you guys know the first 4 months of the year are over. I know that we usually measure the year by 4 quarters. But there's also a third of the year that you can measure, which is every 4 months, right? Which is the way that it's happening now. Every 4 months, things change. And, the first 3 months are obviously January, February, March. But if you add another month, which is April, instead of making it a fourth, it's a third, because every 4 months adds up to a year. So if you think about it, we're a third of the year already done today. So it's an important time for you guys to be aware of what's happening, what's actually happening this year for us. How have I done a third of the year going into 2025? Am I happy with how I've done the third? Am I satisfied? Could I be doing so much better? These are questions that I want you guys to ask yourselves. These are evaluations that I want you to do with yourselves, so that you can become aware of everything that's happening in your lives right now. But just something to think about, something to mention. One of the things that I always teach my leaders and my team members is take always the time to evaluate yourself. That you can never evaluate yourself enough, right? This is like a little morning message, something that God is, pouring into me right now to say to you guys. You can never do enough evaluating, right? Check yourself. Where are you right now? How consistent have you been with your morning routine? Where are you with your finances? Where are you with your mindset? Where are you with your relationships, your personal relationships? All right. These are the things that you really want to be aware of. What have you been doing well up until this moment? What haven't you been doing well? What improvements are you going to make going into the month of May? What shift are you going to make, right? We talked about this yesterday, the shift. How are you going to make this shift possible? These are all things that we should all start to think about, and how we're going to apply this information, and how we're going to put ourselves in a position to win. Because the more you evaluate the more you evaluate yourself, the more aware you become of the things that you got to do better, so that you can improve on them. If you're not improving on those areas, then guess what? Those areas just stay the same, which means you stay the same, which means you stagnate. You want to be in a position where you're constantly growing and you're constantly doing more. So that's what my training is about today: the road less traveled. All right. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about sometimes taking the road less traveled is the best situation that you can all take advantage of. So I'm going to be talking about the road less traveled, which is also one of my favorite poems of all time. If you've ever read the poem, The Road Less Traveled by Robert Frost, I actually learned about that poem back in like middle school. I think it had to be middle school or high school for sure. I remember one of my English teachers teaching on the road less traveled. And I always remember I was like, I really love this poem. But now as I got older and I understand the importance of the road less traveled, it really hits different now. So today's training is titled The Road Less Traveled. And I'm going to be talking about the 4 ways that you can embrace the road less traveled. So put a 444 in the chat if you're ready to take notes. If you're fully locked in with me, you're listening. You've shared this with a friend, you've shared this with a family member. No distractions. We got about 40 minutes of training here that we're going to cover, and I'm very, very excited for it. Okay, the road less traveled. Let's talk about the 4 ways that you can understand and embrace the road less traveled and how it all works out. So, going back to my training, going back to the poem. All right, I actually want to bring it up right here. I'm not going to read the whole poem, but I want to read the last part of it, right? Because I think it's one of the most important parts of the whole poem is described in the last, in the last stanza, right? He says this: two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and it has made all the difference. Now, you think about the road that we decide to take in life. Remember, most people in life, they decide to take the road that society gives to them. A lot of us, we have followed that road, which is usually, what is that road that is given to us in society? We got to go to school, we got to get good grades, we got to graduate and go work a job and work until whatever age we are so that we can retire and live off of our retirements, right? Okay. Who's aware of that road that society gave us, right? Put a 1 in the chat box if you're aware that that was the road that was given to us. That was the road that we were trained to follow. That was the road that our parents, for a lot of us, our parents followed. Hey, you got to go to school. I remember my mom still to this day when I was young. Papi, you got to go to school. You got to get good grades. You got to graduate, and then you got to go get a job. Like, and it's crazy because in their mind, that was all that they knew. So remember, our parents can only teach us all that they know. So they were doing the best that they could with what they knew. So growing up for me, my mom would always tell me, like, yo, when you grow up, you're going to get a good job. My parents were so happy that, I went to a really good school. I was always a pretty decent student. I wasn't an A plus student. I was never an A plus student, but I was like a B student. I was a really good B student. I'm not going to lie. I was always like a B student in math and specific subjects. I was always an A plus student. So, like, for example, math, A plus student. Like, I was really good at math. I always loved science. So I was always really good at, like, science, earth science, chemistry. I was always really good at. But, like, when it came to, like, English, history, a couple of other topics, that I wasn't the best at that, right? But I say this to you guys because we followed this path and we were programmed. You got to remember, there's something called programming. And understand this: there's only 2 ways to program somebody or change a program. You can either do it by, number 1, repetition, or number 2, emotional impact. The way that society has basically brainwashed us is through the repetition of it. Since you're old enough to understand how any of this works, let's say by the age of 4 or 5 years old, which is when you first enter school, from the age of 5, and most people graduate at the age of, I graduated at 22 years old. So from the age of 5 to 22, we're talking what, 17 years? 17 years. That is, let me think right here. That is almost 80 to 90% of my life. I was programmed to believe that, hey, you got to go to school, you got to get good grades, and so on and so forth. So what ends up happening is sometimes all we know is regular education, formal education, but nobody ever teaches us self-education. We know formal education, but nobody ever taught us about emotional intelligence. Nobody ever taught us about the spiritual side of success. Nobody taught us all these different things that were meant to level us up. So whenever you make a decision to start self-educating yourself, you're taking the road less traveled. Like, for example, every single one of us that are on this call right now, you're taking the road less traveled because you're choosing self-education versus formal education. You're choosing to find a way to become an entrepreneur or a business owner or somewhat of a leader so that one day you can live your own life. You can be in control of your income. You can be in control of your finances, your retirement. You can travel more, make an abundance of money. You want to be like the 5%. So when you decide to take this road, you take the road less traveled. Because most people, including our friends, our families, our significant others, the people that we grew up with, they all took the road that most people travel. All right. I know all my majority, I would say 98% of the people I grew up with, they all took the road that everybody had already traveled by. But if you listen to the poem, he says at the end, I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. And I want you guys all here to know that if you have taken the road less traveled, it's going to make all the difference for you. Even though it doesn't make sense right now, even though you don't see the results right now, even though you're not where you want to be at right now, one day you're going to look back and you're going to be like, I'm grateful that I took the road less traveled. I'm grateful I took the road less traveled. So here's how you embrace this, right? The first thing you got to do when taking the road less traveled, number one, write this down. You got to embrace discomfort as your compass. Your compass is your discomfort. Neno, explain that a little bit. Your compass is your discomfort. Remember, the compass is meant to show you where to go. It's supposed to give you direction. All right. So your compass is your discomfort. So how does that work? Well, you got to think about it. The road less traveled is often the one filled with uncertainty, resistance, discomfort. But you got to remember that that's where growth lives. That's where growth lives. It lives in the areas of discomfort. It lives in the areas where you're uncertain, where there's resistance there. And this is important to realize that. This is why I remember when I made a huge list of the things that made me uncomfortable. That was one of the lists. I remember I did a training once and I said, the list that changed my life. Because one of my mentors once told me, he said, Nano, I need you to make me a list of all the things that make you uncomfortable. And he sat there, he was like, and I need you to make it right now, right here in front of me. So I sat there and I made this large list of things that made me uncomfortable. And on the list was waking up early, speaking in public, reading books, meditating, talking to people about my business, putting my face on camera. What else made me uncomfortable? I wrote down a list of things. I think it was like 9 or 10 things that I wrote down that made me uncomfortable. And you know what he told me to do? He said, every day I want you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I want you to start working on every day doing those things that make you uncomfortable. I want you to become comfortable with this. Don't come back to me until you're comfortable with doing the things on this list. This is one of your assignments right here. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, think about somebody actually telling you that, like, yo, make this list and don't come talk to me until you're comfortable doing these things. So I'm like, sheesh, bro, like this is scary, bro. Like, I don't know. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So one of the things was waking up early. I started getting comfortable with waking up early. One of the things was talking in front of the camera. I remember at the time, one of the things I would do is every morning for mornings with Nano, what I would do is I would wake up before, this was before mornings with Nano, by the way. This was before Mornings with Neno, by the way. Every day I would wake up and I would drop nuggets with Neno. I started these thing for like a month. It was like for 90 days where I would do nuggets with Neno, where every morning I would, after I was done reading, I would share with people one nugget that I learned from the book. But I had to put my face on camera because that was one thing that made me uncomfortable. So I would grab my phone after I was done reading, and let's say I learned, you got to you got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. I would grab my phone, I would make sure I look good, whatever, and I would speak to the camera and I'd be like, "Hey, what's up, guys? I'm back another day with Nuggets with Nano, and today I learned that you got to get uncomfortable. No, you got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable," and blah blah blah. And I'll drop like a little 15-30 second thing. But remember, my thing was I just needed to get uncomfortable. So eventually, what ended up happening, and it was true, eventually I got comfortable with doing the videos, and then I would look forward to do it. Then I got comfortable with waking up early. Then I got comfortable with reading. I started reading more, and then I got comfortable with all these different areas that I was once uncomfortable with. I got comfortable with them. And I'm like, yo, look, now I can speak in public. Now I can wake up early. Now I'm reading more. Now I'm meditating more. He told me to talk to people about my business. I practiced this thing. It was called the 3 feet rule, where I had to get over my fear of talking to people about my business. I used to be so scared to talk to people about what I did. So he made me create this rule that anyone that came within 3 feet of me that I felt like was a valid, obviously prospect or business owner or individual that I could talk to, bro, I was in there talking to them. Like anybody that came within 3 feet of me. So my Uber drivers, I was talking to all of them. But remember, for me, it was just all practice. That was what it was for me. It was practice. It was practice. So every time I got in an Uber, I would talk to the Uber driver about what I did. Even those uncomfortable elevator rides, when you're just sitting there in silence and you just kind of grab your phone and you're like, okay, this is weird, but I would be like, yo, what's up, bro? Where you headed to? Like, I would just start random conversations. My waiters at restaurants, the barista at Starbucks, I just started talking to everybody about me, who I am, my business, what I did, because what I was doing was I didn't care. I didn't care about the response or whether people talk to me or not. My goal, remember, was to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. That was the goal. Remember, when you take the road less traveled, I went from being a baseball player, someone who had dreams of becoming a professional baseball player. I went to school, I graduated, and I also didn't go to school for sales. I went to school for sports management. So when I graduated, and now I'm in this entrepreneurship journey where I have to learn how to trade. I got to learn how to build my business. I got to learn how to build a team. I got to learn how to do all these things. These were all things that were all brand new to me. I had never did any of these things, right? So I was like extremely uncomfortable for the beginning. But remember, I chose the road less traveled. That was my choice. I had a $60,000-$70,000 job if I wanted to. But instead, I chose the road less traveled that started me at $0 a month, when I could have been making $70,000 a year, which is anywhere from $5,000 to $6,000 a month. Think about how crazy that is. So you got to seek discomfort. You got to remember that this journey is all about how uncomfortable you can get and how comfortable you can get with the uncomfortable. So my question for you guys is, all right, what are 3 areas that you are avoiding getting uncomfortable with? Because here's the thing, if you're comfortable, then that means you're not moving on down the road. That means you're comfortable. That means you're basically stuck on the road. The only time you're moving on the road less traveled is when you're constantly getting uncomfortable. You're constantly doing things that make you uncomfortable. Guys, still to this day, I do things that make me uncomfortable, believe it or not. One of the things this year that I had to embrace in terms of getting uncomfortable was, dropping Spanish content. I have a whole list of Spanish content that I have to still drop, and I'm still dropping. But this year, I started dropping Spanish content, me doing reels in Spanish. That was one thing that made me extremely uncomfortable. You get to the point in life where you're trying to figure out, okay, what makes me uncomfortable? And now I'm doing that. I'm doing more of that. And remember, this is where growth happens. This is where growth happens. And this is where the breakthroughs happen. This is where the quantum leaps happen. This is where the magic happens. Nothing has ever happened when I was comfortable. Nothing. Nothing has ever happened when I was comfortable. So when you take the road less traveled, you got to keep in mind is embrace your discomfort, because it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be scary. It's going to be dark. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. But that's the reason why is the road less traveled, because most people don't want to make this decision. Most people don't want to take this road because it's harder, and they rather go the comfortable route. They rather go the safe route. They rather go the way that everybody else has gone, because they've already left a basically a blueprint. There is no blueprint here. There is no blueprint on how to make it in this down this road. That's the tough part. There is no blueprint. There is no comfort here. This road is dark. It's the beginning of this road is super difficult, and it's rocky, and it's difficult, and there is no help. There is very few guidance. So you got to choose, right? You got to choose. So number one is embrace discomfort as your compass. Number two is choose vision over validation. And this is important. Choose vision over validation. And that is one of the things that really shifted it for me. I had to choose vision over validation, because remember, most people walk the popular path because it's applauded, it's liked, and it's accepted. The uncommon path is walked by those with a clear vision and no need for external validation. You got to think about it. I told people that I'm starting my own online business. People laughed at me. People critiqued me. People didn't even celebrate it. All my friends who got jobs, when they would post, "Hey, I just got accepted to this job at this place." Hundreds of likes, hundreds of comments, phone calls, congratulations, so happy for you, I'm proud of you. Woo, 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 woo. Nano starts his digital business, teaching people how to become entrepreneurs online. You're wasting your time. You're stupid. Go get a real job. That's not going to work. Most people fail. Blah, 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 blah. Isn't that crazy how life actually is when you actually, and you know where those comments are coming from? My friends and my family. Because I didn't walk the path that they chose to walk. Remember, most people walk down the popular path. That's the one that's applauded. That's the one that's liked. That's the one that is accepted. I chose the uncommon path, but I was given the vision. Remember, God whispers a vision into every single one of us. And remember, the vision is given to us, not to them. So don't be mad when other people around you can't see a vision that was only given to you. It's your vision, not theirs. So let them laugh. Let them not believe. Let them not validate you. You don't need validation from anybody else than the man above. I had to learn that. Remember, your friends and your family won't support you until strangers start to celebrate you. And that's the facts. My friends and family didn't support me until strangers celebrated me. And you know why that happens? It's because friends and family, they know you for who you are. Strangers, they see you for where you're going. Okay, they see you for where you're going. Friends and family, they know you for who you are. So my friends and family, when they saw me, they were like, "Nano, what do you mean you're gonna be a millionaire? Bro, you in the hood with us, bro. You're drinking and smoking weed with us. What you mean you're gonna be a millionaire, bro? Come on. I know your mom. You live right here in this building. You still go to the same neighborhood store as us. You know, you're still over here eating McDonald's with us. Like, what do you mean you're gonna be a millionaire? So when I'm coming back and I'm telling my people, like, yo, we're gonna make it in this, like, people's laughing at me because remember, they know me for who I am at the time. I was the baseball player that went to school, that his baseball career came to an end. I'm 23 years old, 24 years old, still living with my parents. So when I'm telling people these things, people are laughing at me. But then I have someone, for example, like my sister Mina, who's on this call with me, right? Mina sees me for where I'm going. Mina's a stranger in my life. Mina doesn't know. She didn't know where I was from. So Mina's seeing me on Instagram. She's seeing me on YouTube. She's seeing me doing these calls mindset. And in Mina's eyes, she's like, yo, this kid minimum has to be a multiple 6, 7 figure earner. Minimum, he has to be a minimum 6, 7 figure earner. But little did she know that I was broke at the time. But the thing was, she was seeing me for where I was going, though. She wasn't seeing me for the nano that grew up in Washington Heights, that was lost in the sauce, because she never saw that side of me. She only saw the side of me where I was growing and I was reading the books and I was so on fire with where I was going and I was speaking the vision and everything that we live today. You can ask her, she's on this call. I was speaking this when I was at my parents' house, broke, busted, and disgusted. And she would support me and she would believe in me because she saw me for where I was going and she was a complete stranger in my life. And that's how it's going to be sometimes. She has, believe it or not, and I'm using her as an example because she's here, she has supported me more than my own friends and some of my own family, believe it or not. She's a stranger. I didn't know her 5 years ago. I didn't know her 5 years ago. And someone that I just met has supported me, has showed me more love, has showed me more support than someone I've known my whole life. How does that happen? It's because that's the way that is designed nowadays. Friends and family won't support you until strangers start to celebrate you. It's sad and it's unfortunate, but you got to embrace that. But guess what I did? I chose vision over validation. I chose the vision that God gave me over anybody else's validation. I didn't care what anybody else had to say. In the beginning, it hurts. I'm not going to lie. In the beginning, it's almost hard to swallow that pill, right? It's almost like, damn, bro, like, you would think that your friends and your family and the people closest to you would be the first ones to applaud and be the first ones to believe in you. But in reality, they're actually the last ones. But I had to choose my vision. Vision over validation every time. When your vision is real, you have to be willing to walk alone before the world catches on. You got to be willing to walk alone before the world catches on. Eventually, the world catches on. Look, today, a lot of the world has caught on. You know why? Because I'm no longer in the hood anymore, right? Now when they see me, they only see me on Instagram. And when they see me in a different country, traveling the world. They see me at events with Patrick Bet David at Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence. That in order for you to get in there, that's $1 million a year membership. Can you imagine having enough money where you're like, yo, I want to pay $1 million a year just to be a part of this network? I have access to that kind of information. My mentors are 7, 8 figure earners now. You know, like it's still wild to me when I still think about it. When my friends pick me up, they pick me up in Bentleys and Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis. Everything shifted, everything changed in my life. But I used to talk about this when we were broke living at our parents' house. But I chose vision. I chose vision over validation. And that's what I want all of you guys to choose. Choose your vision over anybody's validation. Forget what anybody has to say. Forget what anybody has to say. Choose your vision. That's the most important part. And the question I have for you is, have you been allowing the validation of other people stop you from growing? Because that's something that a lot of the times we allow that to stop us. Have we allowed the validation from other people to stop us from growing in this area of our lives? Because we sometimes want the validation from our friends, from our girlfriends, from our boyfriends, from our family members. We want them to validate what we do, the decisions that we make. But you got to choose your vision over validation. That's super important. All right, that's number two. Number three, let's talk about number three real quick. Number three says discipline is the bridge. Discipline is the bridge. You got to understand that the road less traveled isn't a one-time decision. When you make the decision, that's just not one time. I've seen a lot of people go and make the decision to choose the road less traveled, and they end up going back to the road that's the most traveled by. It's not a one-time decision, it's a daily discipline. It's just one foot in front of the other. Because here's the thing, when you take the road less traveled, the one thing everybody wants right away is they want to know when they're gonna get there. Where growing up, we always complained, or there was always this funny there was this funny commercial, or this movie, I can't remember what it was, that these kids, they go on this road trip with their parents, and all they keep asking the whole time there, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And believe it or not, we are all the same way, in kind of some type of shape, way, or form. We're always wondering, like, yo, the movie, yeah, are we there yet? It's a movie, and we start the journey, and we right away want to know when we're gonna get there. It's a movie, right? That's the name of the movie. Are we there yet? Literally, I couldn't remember if it was a commercial or if it was a movie, but now I remember it's a movie. And we start our journeys, and all we're wondering is, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? From the very beginning, we're so impatient. And the thing is that this journey is gonna take time. It takes time, right? And for my leaders and for my students, what does time stand for? I'll let me know in the chat. What is the acronym for time? Things I must experience. TIME. Things I must experience, right? So when we think about these things, we start our journey, and we want to get there so fast and so early, that we need to understand that it's gonna take time. There's things I must experience. And let's all be real quick. Since you started this journey, have you been experiencing things? Yes or no? Type a yes or a no if you have been experiencing things, whether they're good, whether they're bad, whether they're character building. Who's been experiencing things? Because I can tell you right now, I've had some crazy experiences, good experiences, bad experiences, character building experiences, sad experiences, but it's all part of the journey. That's all it is. Things I must experience. All right. I know, Manita. I know what you're talking about. The amount of experiences we've had to have it's been absolutely amazing. But discipline is the bridge. Regardless of the experiences you have, one thing my mentor said, he said, Nano, just keep one foot in front of the other every day. One foot in front of the other. You go through experiences, one foot in front of the other. Sad experiences, one foot in front of the other. You have great experiences, embrace them, love them, but one foot in front of the other. Keep going until. That's the key. The experiences are all part of the journey. You're gonna have experiences. But I'll never forget the words that he said to me. He said, you keep going until. And I'm like, bro, it's until what? What do you mean until? He'll like, until. And you know me, sometimes if you know me, I kind of get very curious, and I might get snappy sometimes. I'm like, but what do you mean until? Like, I don't understand what you're saying. He says, until, bro. And I'm like, yo, can you just tell me until what? He's like, until. But you know what it was? I didn't understand what he said. But then when I finally, I was like, okay, until what? And I just sat there, and I'm like, I get what he's trying to say now. You just got to keep going until you get there. until what you desired is complete. He said, you'll know when you've arrived, but you just keep going until. And then you know what the funniest part about it is? Then I learned that there is no end. That in life there is no end because the until never finishes. Isn't that the until is all the way through life, and then after life, you go into eternity, and then you continue. So I was like, the until is always, it's an unending journey to figure out who you can become. Yes, the road gets a lot more nicer once you get a lot further down the road, but in the beginning, you just got to keep going until the road gets a lot nicer. The views that you get once you get down the road, the views, the sun, the rainbows, everything that you get down the road later is amazing. But on the way there, sheesh, it's dark, it's raining, it's storming, it's snowing, it's dark, it's tough. But discipline is the bridge. And what is discipline? Doing what you said you would do long after the feeling fades. That's what discipline is. Doing what you said you would do long after the feeling of motivation fades. So it's saying, yo, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going to the gym. I'm going to keep reading the books. I'm going to keep doing what's required from me in order for me to get to where I'm going to go to. Discipline is the bridge, guys. You got to show up every day. And you know who you got to show up for every day? For you. Not for your business, not for your company. Before you can show up for others, you got to show up for yourself, because you can't pour into others from an empty cup. So you got to show up every day for you. That's why I tell people all the time. I'm like, yo, there's been days where I didn't build my business. There's been days I didn't trade. There's been days that I didn't make a sale. There's been days that I didn't do anything business related. But you know what I did those days? I worked on them. I read a book. I listened to an audio. I read the word. I did more for me. At the end of the day, that's the reality of the situation. That's the reality of it. That is the reality of the situation. Keep working on you, because that's the discipline that we all need to have. If you can develop the discipline where you can work on yourself 7 days a week, your whole life will change. A lot of us don't have that discipline. A lot of us do not have the discipline to work on ourselves every day yet. You got to think about this, guys. We've gotten to the point in our lives where we shower every day, we eat every day, we brush our teeth every day. But the question is, do you work on yourself every day? Have you got in your mind subconsciously programmed and automatically designed to work on yourself every single day? The same way that the same way it's a priority to you to shower every single day. The same way it's a priority for us to wake up and brush our teeth. The same way we get mad and we get hangry when we don't eat. Do you have that same type of priority when it comes to your personal development, when it comes to working on you? And if you don't, and if you're not there yet, you need to work on that. Let's all be honest. How many of us are actually doing this every single day? Spending time with God every day, reading every day, working on you every day, becoming better with you every day, finding out who you really are every single day. That's the real key. That's the real bridge that's going to get you to where you want to go to in life. That's what's going to help you fight the battles that you're going to fight in the journey. Like, for example, right now I'm in a battle. If all the years of personal development that I've done were preparing me for this moment right here, the relationship that I've been building with God for the last 2 years was all ready for this moment right here. Who knows if maybe, what if I didn't have this personal development? What if I didn't have this relationship with God? Maybe I wouldn't have been ready to make the biggest move of my life. Who knows? I wouldn't have been ready. I wouldn't have had the faith and the trust and the belief. I don't think I would have, to be real. But because I've been doing the work, because I know that God got me, because I know that faith is the most important thing, that I got to live in faith and not in fear, I'm comfortable. My mentor always told me, he said, Nano, the personal development that you do, all these books, all these things that you do, all these things are for the hard days, bro. It's not for the good days. You don't use these things on the good days. This is for the days that are hard, bro. Always keep that in mind. This is for the days that are hard, the days that nobody wants to show up. You got to always keep that in mind. So that's point number 3. Discipline is the bridge. And then last but not least, keep this in mind. And this is the most important point of them all. Legacy over likes. Legacy over likes. Understand that the road less traveled isn't about what you gain in the moment, but it's what you build over time. Impact is more important than popularity. Understand that your life is a message, and you got to make it one that's going to echo long after you're gone. That's what I do here with Mornings with Neno. And I'm not saying you got to start a morning call like this one. Find your love and your purpose. Because I don't do these calls for what I gain at the moment, but for what we're going to build over time. You know the amount of success stories that we've created because of these calls? You know the amount of people that have healed from these calls? You know the amount of people that we've saved from hurting themselves because of these calls? The amount of people that have used these calls to build successful 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses? For me, it's about what we build over time. I can't wait to see every single one of you that are on this call, the 100 plus people that are on this call today. I can't wait to see all of you. Think about it like this. I can't wait to see all of you guys become the best version of yourself, travel the world, grow closer relationships with God, become individuals that everybody looks up to, become great mothers, great fathers, multiple 7, 8-figure earners, that when I come to your city and your location, you're picking me up. Like, yo, Nano, you're in town today? Perfect. You bring me to your house. You have a guest room just for me. You throw me the keys to your Lamborghini, to your Rolls Royce, to your Mercedes, to your Bentley. Like, here, bro, take this car. This car's yours for the weekend. You can have it while you're here, bro. Mine is yours. I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in if it wasn't for you, bro. So here, take the Lambo, G. Ride around in it. That's on us. Yo, look at the kids. We got the kids in the best private schools in the country. We're traveling the world. We're going to this beautiful Four Seasons resort in Bali. Okay, we're going to the beautiful Bora Bora. You want to come, bro? What's up? Dinners on me, $1,000 dinners, the best wines, the best everything. I can't wait till we're all living that life. Yo, Neno, let's give $1 million to kids out in different countries and third world countries. We're gonna live that life. I believe that. I know we are. We're just in the process right now. But that's all gonna happen in Jesus' name. Amen. That's all gonna happen. I know that's gonna happen. I already seen it so many times. But you know what we have to do? We got to continue down the road less traveled. And we got to focus on, remember, we got to focus on understanding that it's legacy over likes. Legacy over likes. We're going to all have very successful businesses. Our families are going to be retired and taken care of. Money is not going to be an issue. Money will never be an issue. That's going to be the last thing that we're going to be ever worried about, because we're going to have an abundance of money. We're going to live in our dream homes. We're going to drive our dream cars. We're going to live in our purpose. We're going to serve God and the kingdom at the ultimate level, at the highest level that we can ever serve, we're going to do that. I promise you that. I have zero doubt that that's going to be our reality. Zero doubt. But we got to keep going until. Can we all type until in the chat box? Until we get there. Until, listen, we haven't got there until I can't pull up to your city and you're not throwing me the keys to your Rolls Royce or your Bentley. We haven't got there yet. Until I can't pull up to your city and your country or wherever you are in the world, and I can't pull up and you don't have a huge mansion with a guest house for me, a little guest room for me, and you're not gonna throw me. We haven't got there yet. So if I can't do that yet, we're not there yet. Bria, until we can't do that, Bria, John, Michelle, Mick, Crystal, Michael, La Tierra, Sophia, Femi, Nicole, right? Karina, until we can't, Jasmine, right? Jasmine, until I can't pull up on you and you're not throwing me the Rolls Royce keys, we haven't got there yet. So guess what? Look, Alyssa, until I can't come borrow the yacht, we haven't got there yet. We're not there yet. Until the kids are not in the best private schools in the world and we're traveling and our passports are tatted up because we need to go and get new passports because we're filling them up, we haven't got there yet. We haven't got there yet. So guess what? We have a lot of work to do. We have work to do. We have work to do, guys. We're not there yet. We've taken the road less traveled, right? And it goes back to the training. Number one, we got to embrace discomfort as our compass. Number two, we got to choose vision over validation. Number three, we got to remember that that discipline is the bridge. And then last but not least, number four, so we can wrap it up, is understanding that we got to choose legacy over likes. We're the author of our books. We choose how we write it. And that's the key. So guess what, guys? We got a lot of work to do on this road less traveled. But with that being said, the only thing that I know is that God is leading the way for us. We have the best leader. We have the best companion. And I know that everything that we're going through from now until we get there is all part of the process to make us deserving. So don't be mad when things don't go your way. Don't be confused when things don't look like things are not going your way, or when you don't understand. Like sometimes, to be real, bro, I don't understand what's happening in my life right now. Just to keep it a million with all of you. But I'm trusting God. I'm trusting God. I don't fully understand it, to be real. But you know what? I'm trusting God. If it's happening, what the fuck? YouTube is frozen. You are froze on YouTube. Shaking my head. Okay, I think I'm back. All right. Well, we're gonna finish it right there. I guess they were trying to test us a little bit towards the end of it. I know why already. Trust me. Every time the whole call, we were good, and then you start talking about God a little bit too much, and I guess because my service is absolutely fine here, so I don't understand why that happens, but you know, they don't want you to be mentioning the name of the Lord sometimes, I guess. People probably report it. Who knows? You never know what people are doing behind the scenes, low key. But with that being said, guys, I love you. I appreciate you. That's the end of today's call. We'll be back here tomorrow again, same time, 10 a.m. I'm doing the calls. If you're hopping on and you're new, I do these calls every day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time on YouTube and on Instagram. If you guys need any more information, just subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram at Long Live Nano. I usually drop all the links in my chat, in my Nano's mentorship chat that is pinned to my bio, and you'll see everything there. But regardless, my best advice for all of you is just subscribe to my YouTube, turn on the post notifications so that the moment I go live, you're aware, and we're going to be here every morning. You can count on me to be here every single morning, Monday through Friday. And if I'm ever not going to go live, it's because of travels. But over the next couple of weeks, I really have no travels loading. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I'm going to do a little prayer. I do a little prayer at the end of every call, and we'll end it right there. Quick prayer, fine. Let's run it up. Father, Lord, we just want to say thank you so much for allowing us to wake up on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Because we made the wake up list this morning, we know that you're not done working on us. And the amount of work that you've been putting in on us each and every single day, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for following us and being here with us through this whole entire process of the road less traveled. We know how hard it is. We know how difficult it is, and how sometimes it can become very sad and stressful. But we know that you're guiding us through this process, and that every lesson that we learn is there for a better purpose, and you're our leader. So we're following you, God, and we're just so grateful for everything that you do for us each and every single day. Thank you for healing us. Thank you for giving us strength. Thank you for the wisdom. Thank you for guiding us. Thank you for being there for us. Thank you for creating a community that we can walk together and help each other out during this process. We do everything so that we can be the example that we want to see in the rest of the world, and so that we can continue to build your kingdom, God. So we're committed, we're ready, and we're going to do whatever it takes to get there. And we understand that we're going to keep going until. So we love you. We appreciate you. We give you all the praise and all the glory. And in God's name we pray. Amen. 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 Let's run it up. I'm excited. God bless you guys. Let me go get ready for a amazing day that we're about to have. 5/5/25 is loading up. Just get ready, guys, because on May 5th, 2025, I'm going to be announcing a huge launch that's going to be happening. And I'm just so excited for everything that's coming, guys. So keep the date on your calendar, 5/5/25. Let's keep running it up. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Let's go. God bless.